Hello and welcome back to everyone. Great to be with you. Excited for our opportunity to connect once again to the Zohar, to awaken this light in our lives and in the world, to experience this transformation, to connect to the tree of life, to change our consciousness, to bring endless blessings into the world. We meditate that through this study we awaken more love, we open up our hearts. We attach our consciousness, our mind to the Creator's consciousness, to the Creator's desires, to the Creator's thoughts, and use this experience, use this connection to create lasting, true and lasting change, to make ourselves true vessels for the Creator's endless light, to be true channels, to direct this light into the world. And we begin with deep appreciation for this merit that we have to be connected to the light of the Zohar, to have a desire for connection. It's not a coincidence. We've been chosen for that. Today is the 27th day of the Omer. So we're connecting to Yesod of Netzach, right? This whole portion, Miketz, is all about Joseph the righteous, all about the energy of Yesod. So it's incredibly powerful to make that connection. Let's begin with the prayer of the Ari. Share screen. Opening up our hearts, asking for the Creator to guide us and give us the messages for our soul to help us really connect to everything that we're meant to through these sections of the Zohar, for the Creator to give us the light and wisdom, and with the support of all the tzaddikim, with a deep appreciation for the merit that we have to live in a time after the Zohar has been revealed, that we have Rav Ashlag's commentary, that we have access to the Zohar, that we can share the Zohar, we get to be part of revealing this in the world. It's a merit that none of us really understand. It's something that is beyond any imagination. So here we go. ריבון העולמים ואדוני אדונים, אב רחמים וסליחות, מודים אנחנו לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, וגידלנו ובהשתחוויה שקרבתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך, עבודת הקודש, ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה. ואנו ומחיינו, אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה, על כן אנחנו מפילים תחנונים לפניך, שתמחול ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו. ואל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לביניך. וכן יהי רצון לפניך אדוני אלוהינו מלבבותינו שנכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולאהבתך, ותקשיב אוזניך לדברים אלה, ותפתח לבבינו הערה בסודות תורתך, ויהיה לבדנו זה נחת רוח לפני כיסא חפותיך כי יח ניחוח. ותציל עלינו עומק כל נשמתנו וכל בחינתנו, ושיתנוצצו ניצוצות עבדיך הקדושים, אשר על ידם גילית דבריך אלה בעולם, ולזכותם, וזכות אבותם, וזכותותם, ותמיתם וקשתם, יעמוד לנו לבנה כאשר בדברים אלו, וזכותם תאר עינינו, ומה שאנו לומדים כמאמר נעים זמירות, ישרגע עלינו וביטן נפלא מתורתך. כי אדוני ייתן חוכמה, מפיו דעת ותבונה. יהיו לרצונים מפיו הגלנו לפניך, אדוני ישראל, וגואלי. So we're continuing with paragraph 48. So the Zohar says, Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yosef have oaz lebe'acha. Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yosef, two of the friends in the Zohar, students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. As we say their names, we awaken their light. Even at home where you are, say their names. Rabbi Chia, invite their energy. Rabbi Yosef, and their light is revealed for you. And they were traveling. They were walking together, and we know every time the sages of the Zohar travel, we know that they're not just trying to get somewhere. We're not just reading about someone who's, just walking somewhere, they're on their way. It represents the inner spiritual work of transformation that we always are striving to change. They're always on that journey, that transformation process. And whenever they go on their travels, they always study together, they always reveal light together. Amar Rabbi Yosef to Rabbi Chia. So Rabbi Yosef says to Rabbi Chia, Tavana al hayde ka'ama Shlomo. I'm I wonder, I'm surprised, I'm puzzled about what King Solomon said. Kol miloi setimin ve'it yadun ta'kohelet setim setimin. Everything that King Solomon said is so obscure, it's so hard to understand, it's so concealed, it's so vague, it's so coded. We know that King Solomon wrote a few different important uh, writings. One of them is called Mishlei, which is Proverbs. Another is Shir Hashirim, which is Song of Songs. Each of them have a different theme and a different um, different concepts and revelations throughout them. And then the one that we're going to speak about is Kohelet. Kohelet is Ecclesiastes. So Rabbi Yosef is saying there's so much coded in these writings, and you think you might read them and they sound philosophical. But we're not talking about philosophy here. King Solomon wasn't a philosopher. King Solomon is revealing the inner depths and understandings of our world and our consciousness, and therefore our purpose in our lives. Paragraph 49. Patach ve'amar. So he quotes the verse in the first chapter of Kohelet, Ecclesiastes. כל הדברים יגעים לא יוכל איש לדבר, לא תשבע עין לראות, ולא תמלא אוזן משמוע. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 8. All such things are wearisome. לא יוכל איש לדבר. No man can ever state them, or there is toil when it comes to speech. לא תשבע עין לראות. No matter how much you see, it's not enough. ולא תמלא אוזן משמוע. And everything you hear is not enough. There's different ways to understand this, and these are very deep sections. We're coming now to the Zohar. Rav Ashlag has beautiful revelations here. But one of the ways to understand what King Solomon is talking about here, what the Zohar is going to describe, is our senses are not enough to understand this world. We are limited by our senses. Our speech, our sight, our hearing, they are all part of our limited faculties, our limited senses and experience of this world. If we take everything in from those senses that are illusionary, that are limited, will never be enough. So, kol devarim yegiim, all such things are wearisome. It's not enough. It's exhausting. It's limited. So he asks, is it really that exhausting to speak? Right? It's not too hard to speak. I mean, there are some things that are hard to speak about. There are some things that are hard to describe. There are some things that make a person wary when speaking about. But some things are light. We have some light conversations. Sometimes it's easy to speak. So what is King Solomon saying here? When he says no man can state them. And then he says, right, it's not enough to see, it's not enough to listen. Why is he speaking about these three specific senses and expressions or experiences of life? Right? Seeing and hearing. So we're going to discuss now the eyes, the ears, and the mouth, our sense of sight, hearing, and speaking. And we know each one of the senses corresponds to a different sphira, a different level of consciousness. But here, the Zohar is going to explain about the difference between our eyes, our ears, and our mouth. My Tami Ilin, why specifically does King Solomon speak about speech, sight, and hearing? Because two of these senses, V'inun einin ve'udnin, our eyes that see and our ears that hear. Lakaimin birshute devanash. They do not exist under the control of a person. You cannot control what you hear. Something happens, someone says something, you hear it, you have no choice about it. Something's in front of you, you see it, you can't unsee something. You can't control what you see. Yes, you can close your eyes, but if you see, you can't control what your eyes see, as long as your eyes are open. Ufuma ihu birshute. But our mouth is under our control. We can, right, supposedly, theoretically, control what we say. We choose, we decide our words. It's different than the eyes and the ears that have no control. V'chol ilain telat, and these three, there's a typo, by the way, probably in your Zohar. It said tree. I was trying to understand, why is this tree? What does a tree have to do with anything? I realized the H is missing. You might want to add that in your Zohar. I'm pretty sure it's hasn't been fixed yet. I've added it to the list of different corrections. These three, with these three senses of speech, sight, and hearing, you cannot conceive everything, you can't comprehend everything. We are limited, in all other senses, we are limited by our senses. So Rav Ashlag adds that this answers the first question that we asked: is it really that hard to speak? Is it really that hard to? No, we're saying that with our senses, we are limited by what we can experience in this world. When we look through our senses, when we depend on our senses, when we depend on physicality, we are greatly limited, and our senses, especially these three senses, are limited, and they are two of the three are out of our control. Paragraph 50. Amar Rabbi Chia says. So he answers Rabbi Yosef. He says, absolutely, it's true that a person's speech, he can't speak, and you can't see and you can't hear. Your eyes don't see and your ears don't hear. As we know, the famous phrase of King Solomon, there's nothing new under the sun. That's the next verse of Ecclesiastes. Everything that happened is what happened. Whatever happened already happened. Pretty much the same. Whatever was is what will be, and whatever happened is what happened. There's nothing new under the sun. So he's explaining that our eyes, ears, and mouth, they experience different aspects of this life, but there is a system of how things are set up. And he explains, come and see. Afilu biryan vekastorin, even different demons and spirits, that the Creator created under the sun, which means part of our reality. Even they are under the rules of this world, that they cannot speak everything, they cannot see everything, they cannot control everything. We are also limited by what exists in this world, right? We don't hear and see everything. Even things that are of this world, like energies, like different souls and spirits. Everything in this world, we are still limited by them, even though they are in our world. Therefore, King Solomon, who actually was the wisest person, he knew everything. Haba Amada, he would say this. He said that we don't really understand everything. Don't be so sure by what you see. Don't be so sure about what you hear. Be conscious of how you speak. Because we are experiencing this world from a limited state. And even if we have all the wisdom in the world, right? Even if we understand this entire world inside and out, it's still just 1%. We still live in the 1% reality. We live in the illusions of this world. And therefore, everything in this world has a level of concealment to it, and our senses and our consciousness cannot comprehend all of it. Even King Solomon, who was on his level. Paragraph 51. V'tachazeh, come and see. Kol ovadin da'alma. Everything in this world, all actions in this world, bechama kisterin talian. They all depend on certain angels, ministering angels, forces and spirits that rule this world. As Rav Ashlag quotes the famous teaching, She'ein lecha kol esev lemata, there is not a single blade of grass, there is not a single plant, there is not a single thing that grows in this world. She'ein lo memuneh lemala shemakeh oto v'ameh lo gedal. That does not have a special angel that is responsible for it, that hits it and tells it to grow. Which means everything in this world is ruled by forces and spiritual angels, spiritual forces that govern every aspect of this world. Nothing happens by itself. Everything is directed by these forces that are directed by the Creator. There is an angel for that mosquito that is annoying you. There is an angel for your pet, maybe many angels, I don't know. There is an angel for every drop of rain. There's an angel that rules every aspect, maybe an angel for every atom. There's a force behind everything in our world. V'chol b'nei alma layadin v'lemashgichin alma kaima alma. And all of humanity has no idea and has no desire or care to understand how this entire world works. What is the root of everything in this world? How this world is run by all the forces of creation and the angels guided by the Creator. We have no comprehension of it, and we don't really even have the true desire to know or to understand. Vafilu Shlomo Malka, even King Solomon, even King Solomon, that sounds like a typo. Okay. King Solomon, who was wiser than anyone else, he couldn't really comprehend it. He didn't understand it. And it's funny, you and I, we have moments where we think we understand what's going on. The Zohar is trying to expand our consciousness, open up our hearts to realize our limited consciousness cannot understand everything. When things don't go our way, when we go through challenges, what we see with our own eyes, we are limited. And it's meant to be that way, right? Because that's our transformation process, to come to realize that we are limited, to come to realize that there is a reality beyond this world. Let's say you master this world, right? Like we said, you can have 1%, you can have 100% of the 1%, but it's still nothing. It's still limited. We have no idea what really goes on behind everything, and how there's such divine providence in everything that goes on. Even, again, that mosquito that comes and bugs you, there's a reason for it. There's an angelic force behind it. Does that mean that you should let the mosquito bite you? Not necessarily, right? But just to understand that everything that operates and functions in this world is through these forces that are unseen, that we don't comprehend, that we don't understand. Paragraph 52. This is probably one of the longest paragraphs. Actually, also 55 is very long. It's all one paragraph. Patach ve'amar, come and see. Hakol asa yafe beito gam et haolam natan belibo מבלי אשר לא ימצא האדם את המעשה אשר עשה האלוקים וגומר. Let's just finish the verse. Merosh ve'ad sof. So, chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes. After King Solomon speaks about all the different times, which we'll discuss, he says, Et hakol asa yafe beito. He makes everything happen beautifully in its time. Here it says precisely, but yafeh means beautifully. Gam et ha'olam natam b'libam. The Creator puts, here it says, eternity in their minds, but if you translate it more literally, ha'olam natam b'libam, the world, the Creator puts the world in their hearts. Mibli asher lo yimtza ha'adam et ha'maaseh asher asa, without a person ever knowing uh, everything that the Creator does, merosh ve'ad sof, from beginning to end. Tachas come and see. Zakeni nu nemishtat le'beraita, v'yadin nistak le'berucha dechochmata. Come and see how the righteous, the tzaddikim, that study the Torah, that are connected to spiritual wisdom, that are connected to depth, connected to light, connected to consciousness, connected to the Creator's thoughts, connected to the consciousness of sharing and love in the world. Those that live with restriction. Come and see how they look at the world, they understand, they know how to look at the spirit of wisdom. At the kol asa yafe beito, in the verse when it says that he makes everything happen beautifully in its time. Kol ovadin da'avad kutchebrichu ba'alma. Everything the Creator does in this world, the chol ovada b'avada, every single action, everything that happens. Idaga memana alahu avada ba'alma. There is a level, there is a spiritual force behind it. There is a spiritual force that corresponds to whatever happens in our world. Hen latav, hen levish, whether good or bad, whether positive or negative. So here, okay. So Rav Ashlag quotes the Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 to 8. And many of us might be familiar with this. I'll just review it so we can have more context. So he says, L'chol zman ve'ed l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim. Everything has a time under the heaven. There's a time for everything, right? There's a phrase, the time for everything, right? Ed laledet ve'ed lamut. There's a time to be born and a time to die. Ed lata'at ve'ed la'ako. There's a time to plant, there's a time to uproot. Ed la'rog ve'ed lirpo. There's a time to kill and a time to heal. Ed lirpotz ve'ed livnot. There's a time to destroy and time to build. Ed lichbot ve'ed lischok. There's a time livkot ve'ed lischok. There's a time to cry and a time to laugh. Ed sepod ve'ed rekod. There's a time for wailing, crying, I guess, or sepod comes from the word hesped, like eulogizing. I don't know if that's a word. And a time to dance. Ed lehashlich avanim ve'ed kenos avanim. There's a time to cast stones and time to gather stones. Ed lechabok ve'ed lechok mechabek. There's a time to hug and a time to push away a hug. Ed levakesh ve'ed le'abed. There's a time to search and a time to lose. Ed lishmo ve'ed lehashlich. There's a time to keep and a time to discard. Ed likroa ve'ed litfol. There's a time to tear and a time to sow. Ed lachashov ve'ed ledaber. Time to think and a time to speak. Ed le'ehov ve'ed lisno. There's a time to love and a time to hate. Ed milchama ve'ed shalom. A time for war and a time for peace. King Solomon speaks about 14 good times and 14 bad times. 14 on the right and 14 on the left. So now the Zohar says, Minhon dagin limina. There are times that are on the right. Uminhon dagin lismala. Times that are on the left. Azil ba'nash limina. When a person goes on the right, when a person attaches themselves to the right, which we know represents the side of sharing, to positivity, goodness. Hahu avada David, the action that they take, which is leaning towards the right, which is connected to the right side, positivity. Hahu daga memana lahu sitra. What he does is he awakens The action that he does is awakened to the right, and that um, level, that spiritual level, the forces that are connected to that side guide him there. And they support him. Right? When you do positive actions, all the positive forces and angels and levels come and support you. And there are many forces, many, a lot of so much support that a person gets when they go on the right. Right? We know there's the famous teaching, whatever direction a person wants to take, that's how they are directed. If you want to do something positive, all the forces of this universe will conspire to support you in that positive action. But the opposite is also true. You want to do something negative, all the forces of the negative, all the forces of negativity in this world are going to conspire to support you to do the negative thing. You want to rob a bank? Angels will help you rob that bank. You want to help someone move? There's going to be angels to help someone move. A person decides instead of going to the right, which represents positivity and sharing and love and kindness and restriction, a person goes to the left, reactivity, selfishness, anger. A person goes down the path of the left, and he does an action related to that consciousness. That action that he takes, there is a force that goes and supports him on that side, and he's drawn to that side. And he receives judgment on that side. The same force that guides him also judges him. And it takes him over to that side, continues to draw him more to the side of negativity and chaos. And he's completely led astray. Our choices determine what forces we surround ourselves with and what reality we choose to live in. That's why the Rav would say, it's like every action takes you to a parallel universe, to an alternate reality. You make a positive choice, then you choose a reality of that choice, of a more positive reality. You make a negative choice, you choose a reality where more of your life experience will be negative. And therefore, when a person does an action as they properly should, he does an action properly. That angel from the angel from the right side, positive angel, Kamisayle, supports him. Vedahu beito, and uh, that's why it says beito that it happens in its time. Everything goes beautifully in its time. What does its time mean? Yafe beito. What does it mean exactly beautifully at its time? Yafe beito dahu avada mitkashra beito. That the action is attached to the level called et. Et means time, but it also represents the nukva, the malchut. Kidkach as it should be in its appropriate way. So here Rav Ashlag clarifies that these 14 positive times and 14 negative times that we said represent the right and left, represent positivity and negativity. And when a person chooses the path of positivity, then they experience the blessings. But now here, Rav Ashlag says from the Zohar that everything happens beautifully in its time means even if a person chooses to go down the left side, which means the side of selfishness, which leads to chaos, right? The right side connects to the Shekhinah, to positivity. I forgot to say this before. And the left side connects to the negative side, to negativity, to the other side, as it's called. So when a person chooses the left side and they're experiencing chaos in their life, what happens is the chaos hopefully will awaken the person to bring them back to the right. Why do we experience darkness in our lives? Why do we experience lack in our lives? In order to help us realize that we are already lacking. The Creator wants to give us endlessly. The darkness we experience in life is to help me feel, to realize that actually I've been living in a limited reality. The Creator wants to give me so much, but because of my limited state of consciousness, because of my negativity, because of my small thinking, then I devoid myself of what the Creator wants to give me. Because of my selfishness and my anger and my small, thinking and my gossip and my jealousy and my laziness, I'm choosing a reality of darkness. And when I'm in the darkness, it will hopefully make me realize, wait a minute, life is more than this. The moments of darkness are all perfect because they lead us to light. They help us strive for a connection to the Creator. They help us change our ways and our consciousness. Rav Ashlag speaks more about this. The Zohar will continue to explain this, that even the moments of darkness, he says this in the end of paragraph 55. We'll talk about this, but we should be happy in the moments of darkness because it helps awaken me for light. It helps change my consciousness for the light. I know we're over time. Do we have time for one more? How long is it? Let's do one more. Paragraph 53. In the verse it says, puts the eternity into their mind, but it translates more literally as he puts the world in their heart. What do you mean he puts the world in their heart? Kol alma v'chol ovado de alma. This entire world and all actions in this world, lav inun ela uta de liba. They all depend on a person's. Here Rav Ashlag adds a beautiful word here. They are all dependent in holiness in a person's heart. Yeah, they're all dependent on a person's desire, a person's heart. When a person awakens a desire within them. And that's why Rav Ashlag quotes the verse, as it says, know this day and keep it in your mind, but really in your heart. Your heart should be awakened, and that will awaken you to connect to the Creator. That will awaken you to your true purpose. That will awaken you to the light. Zakaini nun tzadikaya. Happy are the tzadikim, the righteous. Damshichu ovadin latav. That all their actions are directed with the desire of their heart towards positivity. Leotav alone. Everything in their desire is to bring light to the world, to bring blessings to themselves, ulechol alma, and to this entire world. And they know how to make a connection at a time of peace. Here Rav Ashlag says, it means that they know how to awaken the supernal union, which is called shalom, peace. And the force, the power of their charity, their sharing, their light that is awakened down here below. As we said, that awakens what's called the Mayin Ukvin, the female waters. It's the returning light, it's the restriction that through our actions down here illuminate the entire spiritual realm. And they draw down light, they draw down blessings to the level called everything, kol, which is the level of Yesod, lanhara beito, to shine in its time. Beito, its time represents the nukva, the malchut. So with our actions, the Zohar is talking about tzaddikim, but we want to be amongst the righteous, that with our actions, with our desire, with the purity of our desire to reveal light in the world, we illuminate all the spiritual realms and draw down blessings into our world. And here the Zohar points out that it has to be at the right time, the time of peace, the time of perfection. The Kabbalists teach that there's no such thing as a bad thing. There's a good thing at the wrong time. The tzaddikim know how to do the good thing at the precise, perfect, right time. And that's one of the things that the wisdom of Kabbalah gives us, is to direct us in this way. I'm so sorry. We're going to squeeze in one more, okay? Because it's relevant and short. Paragraph 54. Woe to the wicked. Woe to each and every one of us when we are connected to our selfishness, right? When the Zohar speaks about tzaddikim, it's talking about the purity of our soul and restriction and the consciousness and light. Wicked means the selfish desires that we express. They don't know the time of peace. They don't know how to awaken light. They take the right thing, but at the wrong time. They don't know how to do the actions for the world that are meant to bring light and blessings to this world. They don't understand how to bring down blessings to this world. And even if their intention might be, if they're selfish, meaning if they want to experience more blessings and more goodness, but they come from the wrong place, actually be more chaos. They're unaware of le'atkana ovada be'ahu dagadid chazele. They don't understand how to, as we said, to awaken the light up above, down to bring the supernal union and draw the blessings down to the world at the time of peace. Maitama, why is that? Begin the layadin. Because they don't know. Meaning, what is knowing? Knowing is consciousness. When we do not have consciousness, when we are not connected to our true desire, our heart, and to the Creator's consciousness, then even if our desire is good, it's going to be limited. We're going to end up being stuck in the chaos, because when we're ruled by our ego, even if our intention is good, if we're ruled by our ego and our selfishness, everything is tainted by that. It'll be always from a place of selfishness, and it'll be the right thing at the wrong time. We're going to continue with this tomorrow, paragraph 55. But this is we want to take a look at our day and ask. The Zohar is saying it's you don't have to be a genius. King Solomon knew everything. He still struggled with this. It's about where your desire comes from. Is my desire to connect to the Creator? Is my desire to reveal the light of my soul? Is my desire to bring light to the world? Is my desire to live with restriction? If that is really your desire, you're going to be guided the right way. If your desire is self-serving, right? We quoted before about the angel that hits everything to grow. If my desire is to grow, meaning to be guided by the positive angels, then I'm going to have this positive effect on the world. If my desire is to stay small and limited because of my ego, then I'm going to have the opposite effect. Lots of love to everyone. Thank you so much for joining. See you tomorrow.